Hi everyone and welcome to another video from DisplayRepair.com. This video will show you some of the most common symptoms of a bad ignition switch on your car. This problem is not that often, but when it happens, you'll have problems starting the car, sometimes turning it off and else. So a pretty serious problem, and it comes in very handy to recognize it on time. So stay tuned. DisplayRepair.com. Be sure to visit us at our website DisplayRepair.com, where you can find more useful car and driving tips. About the ignition switch. Before we start, we must mention one important thing in order to better understand this problem. The ignition switch has two main parts that are connected with each other, the mechanical and the electrical part. The mechanical part is where you push the key in and turn. The mechanical part is connected to the electrical part, which is a type of a rotary switch that turns on all the main and vital systems in your car, which are the power supply to the car's computer, the power supply to the starter, and much more. That electrical part is what we're going to be talking about in this video. If you have problems with the mechanical part of the ignition switch, you can watch our video specifically on that topic, where we show you a couple of easy ways to fix this problem. The link for the full video is in the card in the corner or in the link in the description. The car occasionally does not crank. The first telltale sign of this problem is that when you turn the key, there is no cranking. The next time you try, everything works as normal. At first, this problem may occur in every, let's say, 100 cranks, but it will get worse over time as the contacts within the switch start failing more and more. There is no crank at all. As the problem gets worse, the car may not crank at all. Simply, you turn the ignition switch to crank and nothing happens. Also, it may suddenly want to crank after a couple of turns. It is very important in this phase to make a good diagnosis of the problem in order to eliminate any other causes like a bad starter, a bad relay, a simple burnt out fuse, or else. You turn the key and there is no power. Besides cranking, you may also experience that when you turn the ignition key there is absolutely nothing. So you turn the ignition key and there are no signs of the car coming to life, like the dashboard lights appearing, the fuel pump buzzing, and else. It much resembles a bad battery problem in this phase. The car keeps running when you turn off the ignition. One more symptom is a very awkward one. You turn off the ignition key and the engine continues running. In some cases, you can even pull out the key and the engine will still continue running. The car suddenly cuts off. For the final and perhaps most frightening symptom of this problem, and that is a sudden and total cutoff of the power supply. It can happen when you want to start the car, but much worse, it can suddenly happen during driving, making this phase of the problem very dangerous. In this case, the ignition switch is totally damaged and it's best not to drive the car at all. The best time to make an inspection of the ignition switch problem is when the car occasionally doesn't want to crank. Again, it is very important to make a good diagnosis of the problem, since things like bad starter brushes, a bad starter solenoid, a bad contact, a bad relay, or else have almost the same symptoms. Once you do that, replace the ignition switch as soon as possible, as you've concluded it's in fact a matter of safety. So that's it for this time. We hope the video helps. Please like and subscribe, it's a huge help for what we're doing. Thanks for watching and thanks for your time.